about the politics of Labor here, trying to sort of hang Trump around the neck of Peter Dutton just because they're both on the centre-right side of politics? I know from pollsters on all sides that there's quite a soft vote that, Labor and Liberal are clamouring for, and that soft vote on both sides doesn't really like Donald Trump. Is that what this is all about? Because, if Albanese's returned to office, he's going to have to deal with this guy, and he's spending most of the campaign painting himself into be some sort of a pariah.
Well, that's right, Peter. It is the case, though, that Trump is at the moment helping centre-left parties all over the world. The Liberals in Canada, Emmanuel Macron in France. When Trump was elected, when he first took office and seemed to be a breath of fresh air, there was a sense that the centre-right was marching into office all over the world. Cost of living was causing incumbent governments to be thrown out. I interviewed Nigel Farage in London and he said, yeah, I'm a friend of Trump. That's really good for me. I interviewed Kemi Badenoch and she said, yeah, Trump's election shows people want to follow a leader. But then I didn't publish the interview until after he'd made some outrageous comments about Ukraine. So I felt, in fairness, I had to give her office a chance to update those comments. And after that, she was distancing herself from Trump. Now, Peter Dutton is no Trump. That's obvious. But it did, 6 weeks ago, it looked like being a strong, tough-minded Conservative was a good thing. The election is not going to ride on this, but I think it is, having been a small positive for Dutton, I think it's now a small negative. And you saw Dutton himself, I thought, frankly, a little ill-advised today to say he'd have a fight with Trump if needs be. I don't think you use the word fight about relations between international leaders. And at the end of the day, we're totally dependent on the Americans for our security. So we're not in a position to have a fight with them at all. Perhaps if we had a defence force of our own, we might be, but we don't, and we're not.
Greg, can I just have a really quick comment from you, because I'm concerned that the constant commentary from the Prime Minister about these Chinese ships that are constantly now on our coastline, it's flippant and it's glib, and it seems to pass away the severity of what's happening.
Absolutely right, Peter. So Albanese is very slack, lazy and imprecise in his language. So I pointed out in a column today, he always says, well, they've got ships here, we've got ships in the South China Sea. Doesn't the Prime Minister know we don't recognise Chinese sovereignty of the South China Sea? Us having ships in the South China Sea, they might be 1,000 miles away from China's coast. It's not remotely analogous. He makes a lot of mistakes like that. He can't get right what's actually happening. And China has chosen to do these military exercises, especially the live fire drills, which cause civilian planes to divert in the Tasman Sea, in order to humiliate us and to show us who's boss. We can make no military response. I mean, our poor little ANZACs could never challenge any of these Chinese ships. And Albanese doesn't want to get a reaction from Trump, and he doesn't want to get a reaction from the Chinese. And he is just hoping that none of the big boys recognises him. I mean, final thought, he is one of the few world leaders not to have visited Trump and not to have had a very substantial exchange with him. And now he can't get Trump on the line. So Albanese wants the world to ignore him, and that's apparently what's happening at the moment.